Okay, so good morning, everyone. So can you hear me from your side over there? So can you actually hear me from there? If yes, then probably you can just type it in your chat box and let me know that you're actually listening to what I'm saying in here. It's okay from your side to get my voice and my video clear here, is it? Okay, that's good. Thank you. Thank you, Edwin. Thank you, Tracy. And also thank you, Sanil. Right. Okay. So good morning again, everyone. So I think that this is kind of the what we call the CityU JUPAS Consultation Week. And so I'm first introduce myself to you. So I'm Raymond Wong, and I'm the Associate Dean for the undergraduate programs of the College of Business. So the sections that you're right now joining in is about the undergraduate programs in the College of Business. So first of all, I think that don't treat these kind of sections as kind of very formal lecture, whatever. No, it is not. I think that, the platform of organizing such a consultation week is that we understand that you're all right now thinking about your road ahead, and also you're trying to planning of some kind of the route or program, or think about what you have learned and how to map with your future study. So I think that we just came here to help you. So I think that this is all the purposes of organizing the CityU JUPAS Consultation Week for all of you. So as I just type into the chat box to all of you already, if it just came late or just arrived just now, never mind, just go back to those chat box and then you'll see the one I'm saying here. And just warm welcome to you. And also, I think that probably if you got any questions, you can unmute your mic. If you want to do so, it's fine. If you want to just type in as some of the other peers doing, this is also fine, okay? So let me just respond to the questions of some of those participants mentioned about that first, okay? So I think that, from one of the participants, so Simon, I think that you're Simon and last name is So, anyway. So I think that he asked me about this kind of the exchange program at CityU. So what I'm saying here is that, if you are studying in two, the first of all is about the College of Business, our flagship program, which is called Global Business. So if you came here earlier, then probably you watch about the video that we shown you by the lady sharing, which is called Janice Poon, a lovely lady. And she's our first batch of graduate this year, definitely. And if you enroll in that program, we got 2 compulsory exchanges for you. And that is the program one. Basically, we have some sort of the tripartite exchange agreement. So one is going to the North America, one is going to the Europe. And if you get also another interest, you can go the 3rd time as well. So that is the global business program that we facilitate in here. And normally that exchange would take place in your year 3, which is the 2nd last year before you graduate. But then, that means that, you get 2 semesters in every single year. So one in US, one in the Europe, so that's arrangement. But then some of your classmates in the past, they want to also do some different alternative arrangement, to do one in the year 2, one in year 3, or one in year 3, one in year 4. I think that this is still possible to all of us. So I think that this is the way that we administer. And also, so Simon, he mentioned about the, I'm not sure whether it's he or she, but anyway, so Simon, just excuse me. And if that is about the global business system management, I think that it is kind of the similar arrangement as what I've told you about the global business program. Okay, but the difference is that for the global business program, it is hosted by the College of Business, and but basically that is jointly administered by our College of Business, the Department of Management, the Department of Marketing. And for the global business system management, sometimes we call them the GBSM that you mentioned, they also administer 2 mandatory exchange, but then they don't have any restrictions or any suggestions of those kind of the place of exchanges so far, as long as you go to 2 different places, the locations or the continentals. So I think that that is the things that they allow as well, okay? So for that one, that is hosted by our Department of the Information Systems, okay? So I guess that this is something that probably will help you understand what is going on in here, okay? So as I said that, anyway, so if any one of you who get the questions, you may just feel free to type in the message like what So Simon did, or you can just raise your hand or just unmute your mic, and definitely then you can just voice out in here. Okay, and as I just said that again, don't treat this kind of the consultation sections a very formal lecture, but then I'll also share with you something. If you don't have any specific question to ask, I'll just give you some overview about our college program at the end. But then if you just feel any interest, you can just jump in here or jump out, and I think it's fine, okay, because I understand that when you come over here, you want to get something from us, isn't it, right? And even though I said that, you know, I'm from the College of Business, and I'm associating from that or from undergraduate programs, but just in case, I think that if you just want to ask something more about CityU or some other program, I will try my best, okay? But I'm not guaranteed because I cannot speak on behalf of other program outside our College of Business. But then just in case if you get some curiosity, like you think about that, what is the career support whatsoever, then just let me know, okay? All right, so I think that first of all, I don't know whether you got any questions again, but then if you want to have a look, I mean, this is the things that I prepare for you. It's just about the loop of those kind of the program that we have so far in this week. Okay, we thought about that this is the week, and basically understand that the coronavirus made us have some trouble that we cannot meet the face-to-face in persons altogether. But then we still have this kind of things provide for you. This is the page telling you about our whole CityU Consultation Week brand image, and this is the timeline about all those sections similar to this one to tell you. And with this one, May 28th, I guess that you want to take a look at that, because that is about the Dr. Benjamin Ouyang, all right? Or if some of you who can speak Cantonese, or you're familiar with the Hong Kong program, I think that you know him, right, Ben Sir. And this is our honor that we can basically ask him to come here and then to provide us kind of the tips, sort of the tips for you about the interview skills, because I think that sooner or later, I think a lot of the program that we offer in CityU, if apply, then at the end that we also get this kind of the interviews going. Although I think that this is not face-to-face, and probably it will be go online, but then you may need some ideas about those seniors. He's not that old, but on the other hand, I think that he got experience to tell you that what to speak and what to do and what to prepare before and during the interviews. So I think that that is the win-win situations that you can just mark this down in your calendar probably, and then just in case if you want to go over that, then you can just attend that as well. Okay, let me just show a little bit slow of this one. Okay, now but anyway, so I think that this is the again the case that we talk about in here. So all those things are the things that we provide for you. Okay, now let me just probably I just go through one by one just in case. Okay, all right, now once again I think that if you want to go for any other sections, please feel free to do so. And I highlight for you in here is that it's on May 28th, okay, on this Thursday, 2 to 3 on the Banser interview skills, okay? So apart from that, just like, you know, for example, so Simon, you mentioned about that kind of the GBSM, the Global Business System Management. So that is the information sections I believe that you don't want to miss out, okay? So those are things that probably you have to jot down and then just go to attend the live sections and go ask them the questions, okay? Like for the details about the arrangement in that, then probably just go for that. Thank you. So Simon, I saw your emoji to me. And for any other one that you want to go for that, you can do so. And just like, you know, we have 3 things that, you know, on behalf of the College of Business, I would like to highlight and promote for you. One is about the Banser things. One is about the CFFT, which is about the fintech and also the computational finance. I'm not so sure whether you pay attention to the video that I showed you. And, you know, for the global business, you see a lady, as I just told you, that she's called Janice Poon. And basically, she's the first graduate this year. And also you can see in the CFFT that you see a young gentleman who is called CS Wong. And basically, you understand that the CS is kind of the first batch of graduate this year again. And but then I think that, you know, he's one of our excellent, outstanding student. and he specialized in the quantitative finance, which is the computational finance. And therefore, I think that he basically right now, this year, right now, he already got 5 job offers to choose. And at the end, he chose to go to a hedge fund to do the quantitative trader, which gave him a very, very handsome salary, which is basically very much high. And the exact one, he's quite reluctant to disclose, but then we got some survey to ask him about this category of the salary that probably he fall into. That is in the category of over $50,000 per month. Okay, so but exact one he didn't want to share with us, but it's fine. But then I think that this is kind of the good prospect anyway. So I think that this is the thing I want to highlight to you. And if you also see some kind of the meeting with the major leader, meeting with the admission tutor, and also those are things that probably you want to see. And if you got some live transactions, then probably also try to go with that as well. Okay, and now for this one, I think that you can see on the admission office that the place that you click on this link to see me today, then you can find out the link as well over there. This one, you need to do the registration in advance, okay? You can do that through our admission office website. I think that is the best one. So you can just go ahead for that. If you want to, if you don't know about who's Spencer, then you can also go through his Facebook, just like you can see in here, and then try to take a look of that, okay? And at the end, I think that this is also the page that probably you don't want to miss out. Now, we don't basically, this is something that we don't hide away anyway. So this is basically all available in the website. But then depends on every single program. We just have the individual admission inquiry contact over there. But then my colleague Carmen, she's also here as well. She's basically an admission tutor for these 2 programs. She's kind enough to make a summary of this checklist for all of you. So just in case, I think that if you got any trouble, any questions, as I just told you that find me out in here, or if you just think about something later, about whichever program that you encounter or you're interested in. So you can just come over this website, come over this email, and then, or even you can also telephone us or make some WhatsApp to us. We am sure that we got some persons to pay attention to your request on that, okay? So don't feel hesitate to do so, okay? All right, so maybe I just pause a little bit in here and see that do you have any questions, anything for me first, okay? As again, you can just type in the questions here, or you can just unmute your mic, and I will see you over there as well, okay? So just let me know from that. Okay. Let me see. All right. So any questions, anything so far regarding this? I mean, probably you can just share with me that, for example, what is your interest, and then what you fancy for this College of Business in here? Do you have any kind of the specific questions you want to ask, just like so Simon did before? Or you want me to give you kind of the overview of our program here? I don't know. Now, but anyway, so so shall we? Let me see whether I can do the. Oh, sorry that they don't allow me to do any polling here. Okay. All right. Anyway, so it's okay. And now, I will probably just do it in this way. All right. So I see that a lot of you still right now unmute your mic, and I think it's fine, okay? Unless Smiley, I think that your mic is not disabled. But anyway, so I think that just like what I said, that you know, just in case if you got any questions, any problem, you can just feel free to raise your questions. And then just in case if I speak too fast or if I miss out anything, then you can just stop me. And also probably can just type in into the chat box in here. I'm sure that I got my colleagues to attend to what your text message, or I myself will attend to your message as well. Okay. Now, so I think that, you know, just like what I've told you before, and you know, I understand that, you know, probably you finish all your DSE exam already, or probably you're not joining the DSE, but instead you're trying to go for some other exam whatsoever. But basically, I totally understand that you are thinking about what you're going to do next, isn't it, right? Now, as I just told you that this is kind of the generic things that we want to provide to you, okay? So first of all, I think that this is the slides that basically we provide, and we provide it for the school talk, okay? So what it means by school talk, that means that we just do this on demand by your school. Probably if you're studying in whatever secondary school or even some international school in Hong Kong, just in case you want us to give you some ideas about what are you going to do in this College of Business, or what are you going to do after you graduate from our College of Business, I think that we're always available to help you. And definitely, sometimes, a lot of time that is done by my colleagues. So you can see that at the bottom left corner in here, it's called Carmen, Miss Carmen Watt. So Carmen, are you here? Can you just say something or just say hello to them? Yeah, I saw that you unmute already. So you want to say hello to them? Hi, Carmen. Oh, your mic is not working, is it? Oh, anyway, so I think that, you know, if you just have your a screen having, then basically you see that Carmen is about it here. So I take the liberty to just make use of Carmen's PowerPoints in here to tell you about some things. But basically, I think that this is the thing that we all see here as well. Okay. Now, as I just told you that, you know, I'm just going through this overview to assist you to understand about what happens or what is the connections between your secondary school study and the university study. But definitely one thing, the university study is about the study in the business school. So it's a generic. I'm not promoting anything that to ask you to just come over to CityU, okay? I just want to give you some overview about what you can do, okay? But certainly at the end, we'll give you some ideas about what is the program that we're having in here. And, but you know, just as I've told you before, in case if you get any questions, any problem, you can just stop me, and then I'm more than happy to listen to your request in here, okay? Now, so I think that this is the structure that probably a lot of you are doing, right? So you can do some kind of the subjects related to art, like the language, like the geography, like the psychology, like the history, isn't it, right? And that is called art stream, right? Or you can go through the science stream, take the science, take the mathematics, which is the required subject in DSE, or even you are specialized in the IT, you have some interest in that, probably want to go for that, right? So this is the science-related subject. Or I think that a lot of you, if you're just interested in the business school, probably you have already taken the BAFS, isn't it, right? So business accounting and finance services. So I think that this is the way that probably mostly capture about what you have done in your secondary school training, isn't it, right? Now, but how does it connect it to the business school? So I'd rather say that, you know, if you got this kind of the art training, probably you can think about that. The training is more on some kind of the stimulation thinking to give you some ideas to critical analyze other people's thinking or do some innovation stuff. So those are the things that, which is basically from our point of view, you are very, very suitable to do the marketing, do the management, or do the global business, okay? And if you want to do some science related, so that means that probably you are very aware of what the society is doing, and you're trying to think about that, what can I do best to help the society by having, for example, some technology embedded elements in that. Or if you want to identify what is the scenario happens in the real world, why a lot of people would like to go to the Instagram, and why I saw some Instagram sponsor ad, but others did not saw that. So this is about some data analytics. There's some about some big data analysis as well. So those are the science related. So I'm sure that you get some very fundamental science training when you were young. And then right now, how can you apply them Our business school is very strong at that. So certainly, if you want to be more advanced in a lot of things, like if you want to be advanced in the chemistry, so please go to the chemistry. I think that this is the way you want to go. And then if you want to specialize, let's say, in some kind of physics, mathematics, you can definitely go for the mathematics department or the physics department. But if you think about that, how can you help others in the business society like in Hong Kong? Then our information systems, our management science, or even I showed you about the video about the quantitative finance, about the fintech. So those are things that will help you on one hand to specialize, to strengthen your technical knowledge in those technology, in those data analytics. But on the other hand, we encourage you to apply them. Okay, so that is the structure of the business school information system, business school management science, and business school fintech quantitative finance, because those are the things that we combine your expertise and we communicate this expertise to others. And therefore, this is the difference between the information system, for example, from the information technology. So information technology is more on the hardcore things. Okay, you're very good on the 0 and 1, but on the other hand, you are not really know how to communicate these things to others. So our information system, it just bridge the gap in that way. Okay, so that is the art, that is the science, and the last one would be the BFS. But I think this one would not be a surprise to you, which is quite simple and understandable, right? So if you just have the BFS, definitely the AF, accounting, economics and finance, basically they are all of them, isn't it, right? So those are things that we believe that you can do on that side, okay? Now, maybe just stop in here a little bit. So any questions and problems so far regarding what I'm saying here to you? Okay, now, so that I think that I try to understand that probably you need to have some more information before knowing that how to ask the questions, right? So let me just continue, okay? Now, and I just go for the first one first, okay? Now, as I said that if you just study some art subject, marketing would be quite of the good choice for you. Why is that? Because of marketing, you can see that we talk about some things more on the strategy, on promoting the company's product. We try to think about the branding, isn't it, right? Like you can see that the Tesla, the iPhone, the KFC, or the Rolex, so all of them, they got a brand, isn't it, right? So how people can come up with a brand that definitely represent them is a kind of the question, right? So I think that this is kind of the a bit abstract, isn't it, to all of you? But this is not the case in our departments of marketing in the CityU, because you can see what I'm saying here is that they say the motto or the vision for them is learning through real life experience. So that's about some things more on the practical. Sorry for speaking some candidates because I think that this is the things that I saw from the slide. So probably I think they represent all of the ideas behind as well. But if you just in case want to look into some candidate sections, I got one more at 4 p.m. today. Now, but anyway, so I think that this is the thing that they want to highlight, how to think about this in practice. As I just told you that, think about the brand is abstract. But if you get some idea, some experience, or some exercise for you to practice this concept, that would be easier for you to understand this concept behind, right? So I think that this is what we call the company consultancy project provided by the marketing department. So every single year, they organize this kind of the consultation project to the students for every single year. So those are brands that you can see. But every brand behind, they got a story. So they want to help this kind of company to enhance the brand image. So therefore, I think that that is what they do. And you can see a lot of beautiful faces that they can see from the left-hand side because we promote that into the local newspaper. Okay, so a lot of your friends, your peers, your parents, your relatives will see your face on the newspaper anyway. Okay, so that's the marketing. And for the management, what is that? So I think that, this is the ultimate target. I think a lot of people would like to think about in the future because when you graduate, you want to go to the business field, and sooner or later, you will be the middle management, and then the management, and then the senior management, is it, right? So the skills behind are something that you cannot neglect. Even you're specialized in chemistry, for example, right? So you cannot just stay in your lab and then try to do this laboratory by yourself. experiment by yourself. And basically, you have to do a lot of things to communicate. So that is our strength in the Department of Management. We try to give you some how to manage the people. So that's a human resources management. And then you think about that, how to define your strategy of your company. That is what we call the strategy and international management. So those are the things that you can choose in our Department of Management as well. Okay. Now, so that is something that I told you at the very beginning, and that is also some of the things that your peers are really interested in. Now, so that's what I've told you. In our BBA, Global Business, so you can see that we got 2 mandatory exchanges. So this is the blue circle, the green circle. So those are the places that we really encourage you, or mandatory, we ask you to go for that. So one should be the one in the locations of North America. So that means that the US and also the Canada. So what you can see from those kind of the university you can see in here is that University of Toronto, Minnesota, UBC, Carnegie Mellon, Wilkinson-Madison, and those are the things that we have a lot of successful placement of the exchange students to be there, and that is our strength as well. And you know that why I put some kind of the star or the asterisk marks in here is that because for this university, if they get some asterisk marks, that means that we get some tripartite arrangement. Okay, so the tripartite arrangement means that we get these kind of connections that we send only our global business students to them, and they send the students to our college of business as well. So those quota are exclusively for you. And what we say, this university, they are the top universities in the world. And even you can see in the Europe, the second exchange, they are in the Manhattan, they're in the Leeds. So basically, they are the best schools in the world as well. So after these 2 mandatory exchanges, if you're also interested in some other thing else, we could have the 3rd one. Or you could also go for some voluntary trip. You can go for some kind of the surface learning to South Africa, for example, or you can go for some language immersion trip. So that is something that we strongly support in our global business program in here as well. Okay. And then afterwards, I think that in this global business, we also highlight that you have to take some foreign compulsory language courses as well. Okay, because you know that this is the global business. So therefore, I ask you, the program will ask you to go for this category as well. You can go for German, French, Spanish, Japanese, Korean, Mandarin, etc. It's up to you, okay? And you know that this slide just showed you is not about those facts. I'm just sharing with you that what is the proportion of your classmate inside this program, okay? Because the global business program is not just about sending you out. Okay, we also want to bring some diversity in. So you can see that about half of your students will be the local Hong Kong students only. The rest of them will come from all parts of the world. Okay, so those are the facts that you can see from here as well. Okay, all right. So I think that those are the 3 programs I talked about so far. Okay, so any questions, any problems so far? Now, I think that, you know, as I just showed you that you can just anytime if you want to join in, if you want to leave, I think that this is fine, okay? So just in case, because I see the participation list from time to time as well, okay? So for some newcomers in here, if you want to ask any questions, feel free to do so, okay? Now, I see one question, so probably just let me a little bit stop in here first, okay? So Bowming just asked me the questions that how much do global business overseas study cost generally? It depends, okay? So I think that, you know, the first of all, if you want to go for the exchange, basically, I think that you only need to pay for your tuition fee for the local universities. That means that pay for the tuition fee in Hong Kong only. All right. So we got some cost sharing agreement between CityU and those parts of the world already. So for the tuition fee wise, you don't need to be boarded. Okay, because you just pay the ordinary tuition fee. But then for the cost of living, basically we have some calculations. Depends on which program that you are studying and what place that you are going to do as well, okay? So it's generally a lot, okay? So I'll tell you first, okay? Now, but on the other hand, I guess that there are some things that which is very good in CityU is that we strongly emphasize students going abroad. And that is what you saw from the news from CityU as well, right? Because for the global ranking, for the internationalization ranking, basically CityU ranked #1. in the world. Okay, so what I'm saying here is that basically for this kind of the global business program that we administer in here, we strongly highlight that you want to go outside. And also in CityU, we got a strong support that we have several kind of the what we say the scholarship and also the exchange fund for you to apply. Let's say, for example, in the CityU, basically every one of you will be entitled to once what we call the student exchange fund. Okay, so that student exchange fund is basically assigned for you to go exchange once. Okay, but certainly we got some criteria for you to apply for that. Let's say, for example, you should meet some GPA criteria for that as well. Okay, so I think that makes sense, right? But then if you can meet some academic performance, basically you're eligible to apply for that. That would be about, I think if I remember correctly, it's about $30,000 or $40,000. Okay, now, but on top of that, you can also apply for what we call the Joseph Lau non-local exchange fund. For that one, which is basically set aside by a donor of CityU who helped you to go abroad. Okay, so that one, I can tell that was basically enough to cover all your cost of living overseas normally. Okay, so that is something that we provide for you. Now, so I'm saying that for the student exchange fund that is administered by the university, you should get once. You should have entitled to once. Okay, if you miss some GPA requirement. And for the scholarship fund by the donor, you can also apply for that. So that is a second channel you can do that. And the third one is that right now, be careful, I'm just speaking about the global business program. Okay, because for this global business program, it is administered by our College of Business, and we just tag it as the flagship program. So we put some resources to support for this program. So just in case, because we got two compulsory exchange, right? For the first one, I suppose that you could also get this kind of the student exchange fund already. But then for the second one, you apply for some other sources, but then it is not good, not successful. Our College of Business will be able to help you to sponsor you part of those kind of the exchange, which is costing about $43,000, at least at this moment I know, but probably we will revise up or down, I'm not so sure, but then right now it is about $40,000 for your second exchange. Okay, if some of you, I think this is the route that we can provide for you. Okay, now Tracy, I saw your questions. Okay, but then let me just finish that one. I can just get back to you. Okay, because you sent me twice already. Okay, now but then let me just get back to Bowman first. Okay, so I think that this is the way. Once again, you can go for the student exchange fund. You can go for some donor support for that. You can also come with us, the College of Business, if you are under the Global Business Program. Okay, so that is the things in here. Now, let me just share with you one more thing. If you are studying the Global Business Program that I've told you right now, if basically, unfortunately, you have some financial difficulties within your family, and you have to apply for the government support, let's say the non-means tax fund, okay? If you got some financial difficulties in that, so basically on top of all these free ways that I've told you earlier, we, College of Business, would also like to support you for the exchange if you really get some financial difficulties, okay? So that would be, and also kind of the dozens of thousands over there as well, okay, to assign for that for you. Okay, so for that part, I think that that is something that you don't need to worry too much. Okay, but certainly I think that you will not expect that you can go overseas with a lot of support, that you can just treat yourself just like the grown up with some travel. No, I think that you have to also experience being a student, study overseas. So somehow you have to plan wise on your financial over there as well. Okay, now sorry, Tracy, can I just add one more thing for Bowman about that as well? Probably I think that this is something that a lot of you will be interested to know as well. And because Bowman question is also about the Global Business Program, the overseas study, right? Now, but I will show you later on that, you know, out of this slide, you can see here that for some program, like for the marketing, like for the kind of the management science, like for this, quantitative finance and fintech, or we call it the CFFT, like for the accountancy, like for the economics. So basically for this program that I name it here, they got the joint degree arrangement with Columbia University in New York, and also the NTU, National Taiwan Universities in Taiwan. So for students who went into these programs, what I mean is about a joint degree program, you expect some overseas spending, isn't it, right? Now, as far as I know, CityU so far, we got a lot of good support for those students who like to go overseas. Say, for example, for the Columbia Universities, every year, we fund very hard the sponsor, the donor, to support these students to go to New York, because this is not very, New York, I think that you all know that this is kind of a big city. The cost of living is very, very high in there. So without our support, they could not really get past those study and also the living there as well. So, but for that one, I assure you that we get a lot of good support for those students to go overseas. So for that part, you don't need to be worried too much. As long as you fulfill certain criteria, you will get the support from the donor, and then you will be being a good student to study over there as well. And we did have a lot of graduating from the Columbia Universities every year, from the National Taiwan Universities in the past as well. So I think that there is something that to help you in that way. Okay. Now, so Bomik, am I answering your questions for that? All right. Now, anyway, so you can just get me some more questions later on. Now, for some of you, probably you can also see the second questions, probably some questions in here as well. So it's from Tracy. Is that only global business students can learn the foreign language? No, 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 certainly not, okay? Because your question is very easy to answer. No, in CityU, we ask students, encourage you to take some what we call the gateway education, language educations. So for that part, basically, you are allowed to use your electives because your structure in a CityU is that you have the 120 credit unit minimum to graduate in here. So out of those, you basically, a lot of them come from the university requirement, the college requirement, the major requirements, but then we still reserve some of those kind of the credit unit for you to take some electives. And those electives, you can make use of them to take the minor, or if you are thinking good enough, you can take the double major, which is the strength in our College of Business. So for that part, this is something that you can utilize. Or if you just want to enjoy your university life and just take one major, or you think that you're only able to articulate one major, then the free elective is something that you can make use of to choose whatever courses that provide in CityU. For example, for Tracy, you can definitely take some Spanish, Korean, French, whatever. It's just for you. But what you see from the slide I showed you before, those are the compulsory for the global business. Okay, so because for the global business, we want you to be more global. So therefore, I think that apart from the university requirement of the language, Chinese, English, we want you to take one more. Okay, so those are things that we require. But for any other students out of those programs, just in case if you're interested, any language courses you can take in CityU as well. Okay, so am I answering your question, Tracy? All right, so you can just ask me any questions later on as well. Okay, so now from Brian, I think that thanks Brian, thanks Tracy, thanks Bowming, also so me as well. And Brian, I think that you asked about the questions that the interview of marketing will be held on June. Okay, so I guess that is the practices in the past. Okay, because I think that it's about the time that, you know, during this time for the May to June, this is the normal time that for every single department they would do the interviews. Okay, just right before your DSE result announcement. Okay, now but this year you understand that the DSE result has already been I mean the schedule of the DSE has already been postponed, right? So that's why I think that I think tomorrow is the last day of the DSE exam. Although I think that is the one about the, for example, the economics, basically not all of you would like to take that. But one thing in here is that just because of the reschedule of this the DSE exam postponement, I think that our marketing department will also defer a little bit of this kind of arrangement as well. Now, but certainly, I think that you got a very good concept in here as well, because my colleague Carmen also remind me that probably because she checked about that kind of the interview schedule already. It is in June, okay? Or basically, as I just showed you about that slide before, you know that if you want to look into, because I'm reading about that schedule as well, if you want to go into the details about kind of the interview schedule whatsoever, you can go through the time slot. The marketing ambassador will meet you over there as well. The admission tutor, which is the Mr. Alex Tan, will see you there as well. I will just show you about that kind of schedule later on. Okay. Now, but then one more thing that probably you would like to supplement to what you're asking here, Brian, because yes, it's likely the interview will be still go on. Okay, so even though I think that we cannot see you face to face right now, even though we cannot encourage you to come back to CityU to have some campus tour in here, to look into the professor, your senior year students in person, but we still want to make some kind of the interviews to all of you. Okay, for the marketing, I know that they confirmed to make it, but then we are not doing this as usual for the face-to-face, but instead we try to do some things online. Okay, so those are things that you have to pay attention to. Okay, now you know, during these days, I think that I've been interviewed by some of the newspaper, the media. They asked me to provide some tips for you about doing the interview. I won't tell you too much to occupy too much of the time of the other people in here, but then I think that one thing which is very important to all of you, that I wish that probably you can get used to, that is you know, right now you get familiar with this kind of the Zoom meeting, is it right? Now, if you just go for the online interview, definitely you have to get your cameras on. Definitely you have to get your speakers on, your mic on, isn't it, right? Now, so those are the things that, you know, you have to do a lot of preparations, just like you do in the traditional face-to-face interview, okay? Now, my saying in here is that when you try to do this kind of the interview, so don't treat it as a lazy thing you do online. No, if you just take it serious in doing some traditional face-to-face interview, for example, you have to wear a formal suit, you have to make sure that your hair is combed nicely, you have to put some makeup if you're a lady, and then you have to make sure that the gesture in front of other people, those are the things that you do some preparation. Or even if you want to travel, for example, to CityU to make the interview, you have to calculate about the traveling time beforehand. If you need to travel to UST, definitely you have to watch out about the traffic situation as well, is it right? Now, what I'm seeing here is that those are the preparations for the face-to-face. Then, if right now we just change the format without changing any content of that, why don't you also prepare it nicely, right? As I just told you that you need a camera, you have to make sure that you got a gesture, you practice it. You also need to wear your suit. I'm sorry that I didn't wear, I just wear my college jacket to make sure that you understand that I'm coming across the business. But I'm saying that if you're just doing the online interview, preparation is still the same. Although the preparation right now is in different form. You have to dress up as well, but then you have to also make sure that you feel yourself very comfortable. Look at the camera, even though no one is looking at you at that point of the moment. You have to test your mic. You use this kind of speaker that I'm using, or you use the headphone. How is your internet connections? Would you like to go sometimes before the section starts, just like some of you did that? I saw Tracy, I saw the Soul Simon in here as well. So those are preparation as well, is it right? Now what I'm saying here is that interview is still on, but the format is different. Again, it doesn't mean that you don't need to do the preparation. Instead, you have to do a lot more preparation as well to make sure that you're comfortable to speak in front of others using the camera. Those are things that are a bit weird, just like you speak in front of the mirror, is it right? But then that's the case, which happens now, right now, every day. So what I'm saying here is that I suggest you that this is the tips from me, okay, to make sure that when you try to go through this interview, get yourself most prepared of that. Now, but certainly, let me just give a call on my promotion in here is that I am not the expert in that. I just know that from the interviewer point of view, I've been in this profession for many, many years. So I can just share with you about something that from my own experience. But then we do have some expert answer on this Thursday. go for that sections, try to get the most out of it. And you can also interact with him, definitely, I guess, on Facebook, on Instagram. So those are things that you can get some things from him as well. Okay. Now, just going back to Brian questions, I think that the interview still go on, and but this is right now online. Okay, so get some preparations beforehand. Okay, so I hope that answered questions well in here, Brian. Okay, let me just go over some other questions in here. Okay, oh sorry, Brian, you got 4 questions. Okay, will there be a separate interview for the principal nomination letter program? Okay. Now it depends, okay? So I understand that, you know, that if you're in the secondary school in Hong Kong, basically we have the mechanism called principal nomination, which is basically the nominations from your school principals, okay? So for those part of them, basically it's up to the individual program, okay? So the individual program will get a choice to see whether they want to interview those nominee or not, okay? Now, but for that one, it's a separate scheme, okay? Like, you know that I'm the Associate Dean from the College of Business or the undergraduate program, but also I'm the Associate Professor in the Department of Accountancy. I myself is a qualified accountant. Now, but anyway, so I have been through this kind of the admissions in the past for my own department. And basically, in the Department of Accountancy, in my years, they chose to interview those principal nominees as well. Okay, now, but on top of that, I guess that this is what, Brian, you're asking. If you are interviewed for the principal nominations program, some of you would also be invited to do the normal interview by the department as well. Okay, now, so what I'm saying here is that because I think Brian just mentioned about that interview, so this is the CityU practice that normally we do this kind of the interview from time to time. Okay, and that interview depends on the program that you apply for. If you apply for the Department of Marketing, they will just interview you, a lot of you. And if you apply for the Department of Accountancy, same case. If you just go for the global business, the quantitative finance, I mean the computational finance and the fintech, they did the interview in the past, but I know that in this year they try to ask you to prepare your profile and then to do some kind of the online individual interviews. Okay, so those are things that depends on every single program regarding the massive JUPAS admission. But then Brian mentioned about the school nomination, which is a separate scheme outside that. Okay, so therefore I think that the practice applied for the JUPAS admissions is different, or I'm saying that is independent of the school principal nomination. So if you're just being interviewed by the school nomination, you may still have a chance to do the normal JUPAS admissions. So likewise the case, okay? So if you do the JUPAS admissions interview, you may also get a chance to do the school principal nomination interview as well, okay? So I hope that I can answer your questions in here, Brian, okay? All right. So any other questions you want to ask so far? Okay, now I think that this is a very good practice because I think that, you know, I will try to keep doing that. Okay, so I just finished the first one. If you just study for the art in the secondary school, how could it be connected with the business program in the world? Okay, and right now let me just go over and to the science program. Okay, now once again, just anytime if you get any questions, just stop me. Okay, so if you study the secondary school, the science program, then you can definitely choose this one. Now this is very exciting. Let me just show you one by one of that. Okay, for the information system, you can see in here is that we got 3 JUPAS code. One is the 1017, which is the generic one. If you just didn't decide yet, you want to go for the global business system management, or you want to go for the development, the information management, you can just go to the 1017, which is the generic one to give you some time in your year 1 to explore which one you want to go through. Okay, now, but depends on the choice that you want to go through, you have different kind of exposure in our program. Like right now, if you go for the global business system management, so this is kind of the things that we try to keep you the global exposure as well, but then you're strong at the system management. So you can see that a lot of people at the end, they went for the internship or the graduate employment into the Google, Alibaba, Tencent, Baidu, Facebook, Amazon, etc. Okay, so this is the students that success in the past as well. Okay, if you're really the tech savvy, if you're really the interested in some specialized tech knowledge, this is the information management you should go for. Okay, and the JUPAS code is 1019. The previous one is 1018. Okay, but anyway, so I think that this is the one that you can go for different types of the ideas. Like you go for the big data in the financial services. You can go for the auditing, which is the professions in a CPA firm with the IT background. That's what we call the IS audit, information system auditing. Or you can also go for some kind of the entrepreneurial to go for the O2O service as well. Okay, so we did have a lot of successful alumni who have the expert and also land on different places like in here as well. Okay, now, but this is what we call the tech, isn't it, right? So I just told you that you can either go for the global system management, 1018, you can go for the information management, 1019, or if you're undecided yet, go to 1017, okay? And if you still recall something I told you earlier that, the information system in here is different from the information technology. Information technology, you're basically the hardcore programmer, for example. But the information system is in the business school. That means that what? Whenever the programmer decide the software, decide something, we know how to communicate it well with our user. So who is the user? That means that either the customer, either the personnel within your own department, because they all have to experience about what happens in the technology. But then if no one tells them how to make use of this program software to be implemented in the workplace, it is not helpful at all. So the business school information system aim to serve in that place. And therefore you can see that from this slide, information system auditor, O2O service manager, or even you go to these bigger places in here, they tell you that our role is in there, okay? Now, on the other hand, if you want to go for something more on the data, so you can have to go for this management science. The management science, originally, they have some message, some discipline from the statistics, but also they have a lot of things that are more on the critical mindset, which is the science program necessity as well, isn't it, right? Now, for the business analysis or the management science department, basically, the idea is very simple. We just see the insight from the data, okay? If you're with me previously, you understand that I told you that, why suddenly your Instagram just pop up the advertisement like this, but your peer just sit next to you. He or she just didn't have this kind of the advertisement pop up in his or her Instagram. So that is what the big data matters. Okay, so in the business analysis, this is what you can see in here is that to bring the data to smart insight, isn't it, right? So that is what our strength in here as well. And by the way, I'm not so sure whether you pay attention to those kind of the news right now, because if you just talk about some property market in Hong Kong, you understand that we have one very important index called Center City Property Index. I don't know whether you heard about that. 中原領先指數, I think something like that. It just popped with the center, which is the center management, which is the property management like the 中原地產. Okay, so one partner is that. Another partner, city, it's not about the city Hong Kong. It's not about any Vancouver, New York City. It's about CityU. That index was invented by this department, management science, and the commercial center property management, 中原地產, they merge together to keep tracking about those second-hand property market index. Okay, so you can see that this is the relevant. So our students basically they graduate from this department. Our professor teaching this department, they all got this insight to tell you that if you got the data, how can we make use of them to give you some insight? Okay. And certainly, if you got some operation management, you talk about some supply chain, which is basically necessary for every part of the world. You start off with producing getting the raw material from others, putting some labor in, and then you try to have the finished good, and you do the packaging, and then you send it out through the marketing, and also try to do some delivery logistics. So those are things that from the beginning to the end, this is the operation. But how can you make use of those kind of the steps in between to optimize this process, to maximize the efficiency and effectiveness? That is the operation management about, okay? Again, very relevant to business, isn't it, right? Now, another exciting one that I want to share with you is about this one, okay? computational finance and the financial technology. It is the course code JS1000. Okay, first of all, I think that, you know, if you just are interested in the global business, you should also be interested in this one, because the global business and the computational finance and fintech, these two programs are the two flagship programs in the College of Business. We put a lot of resources to have this program to grow up as well. As I just told you that if some of you came late, I showed them the video at the very beginning. We got a successful graduate who graduated this year who landed on a hedge fund on the quantitative trader. Okay, so that is the very successful story that I'm sure that you'll be one of them as well at the end. Okay, so you can see that what is the mix between in this program in here. Computational finance, which is basically have the calculations, computer science, and also the finance. The fintech is about the finance and technology. So basically, they conclude all these elements in here already, like the algo trading, some sexy term you will see right now, the blockchain, fintech, regtech, insurtech, corporate finance, commercial banking, IPO, financial analysis. So all of them you'll be interested in. Now, but to make it simple, you can see that in this program, we highlight these 4 elements: finance, mathematics, stat, and IT. If you want to go for the computational finance, mathematics, stat, finance, it's about those combination. If you want to go for the fintech, mathematics, finance, and IT are your case as well. Okay, so you can see that these two, computational finance and fintech, at the end you can divide yourself into 2 streams. One is strong at the computational finance, just like what the graduate do, right? So he is the specialized in the computational finance, and therefore he land on the quant trader as well. If you want to go for the fintech, which is something that very sexy nowadays, you have to go for this stream at the end. Okay. All right. Now let me just make a little bit portion here as well. Okay. So any questions, any problems so far right now in here? Okay, now I think that, you know, let me just quickly go for a little bit on that. Then I think that if you just want to go for some other thing else, you're free to go. Okay, now I think that the last one is quite easy to understand. If you're just specialized in the business program already in your secondary school, certainly the business program we provide for you, just a perfect match, isn't it, right? So econ and finance, you will never forget that where you can go, right? Being the economist, or you want to go for some bank. Okay, and in the economics and finance, basically it's a one department that we have. So you can really go for the choice of the business economics 1013, or if you want to be the finance expert 1014. If it's still undecided whether you want to go for the business economics or finance, go for this, which is the 1012. Okay, you can declare which way you go after your year 1. Okay. I kind of see that is the professions that where I come from, then I think that you understand what it is. We have the professional accreditations, which train you to be the professional accountants in the future with a promising career. So I don't highlight too much on that. Okay, you can go for that as well. Okay, now, so I think that this concludes what I'm saying in here, but let me just tell you a few more things before you leave in here. Okay, so in here, CityU, in a College of Business, we highlight a lot of practical experience. Okay, so that is some things ranging from the internship, mentorship, or some professional workshops in the form of a guest lecture or some seminars that we provide. And we also ask the students to go outside to explore like the competitions. So you can see that this is the prestigious competitions provided by HSBC, and CityU really score very, very good from that. So what does it mean? That means that, you know, our CityU student has been seen by others and has been demonstrated to others that we are best. Okay, so we also fight against other people in here through these demonstrations in the competitions, isn't it, right? Now, because I think that, you know, somehow you cannot find a solid evidence to tell people that how good you are. But then if you just win the competitions and combat other university, that demonstrates something, isn't it, right? So we did it in the past already. As I just told you that international exposure is a strength in CityU as well, regardless of the ranking that we have. But basically, in substance, we do provide a lot for the students. So you can see that we got a very good inbound, outbound students, and then our choice of the institute to do the exchange is quite big as well, isn't it? Now, this is the things that I told you at the beginning that I want to highlight. If you want to go for the joint degree program, the arrangement would be like that. for the National Taiwan University joint degree program is that first year, second year in CityU, third year, fourth year in Taiwan. Okay, so this is the things that you can get two place, but you only pay one university tuition fees. Okay, you only need to pay CityU tuition fees. Okay, and so the program. Sorry that you hear the thunderstorm, right? So because I think that there is just take care everyone. I think that this is something that happens right now. The bad weather is on. Okay, so it's lucky that we are online right now. We are not in outside. But anyway, so I think that if you just take the accountancy, business economics, marketing, you can apply for the joint degree program between CityU and the National Taiwan University. So this is the Asia coverage. If you want to really go for some Western exposure, we do good in the College of Business as well, because we provide you a choice to go to Columbia University, which is one of the Ivy League university, which is the oldest one in the US as well, in New York City. Okay, so if you enroll in this free program, you get a choice to go for the Columbia in the third year, fourth year, while your first year, second year studying in CityU as well. Okay, how wonderful it is, isn't it, right? At the end, you graduate in 4 years, but then you got 2 degrees, which is something that you cannot really get some competitors in the other universities as well, isn't it, right? And for this one, we're quite mature that we send students from time to time already. Okay, so I think that this is the thing normally that I want to tell you. And admission, let me just quickly go through that. Apart from those things that probably you can get from us when you come here, this is the entrance scholarship probably you will see in here. Okay, so this is the scholarship. You can go for the CityU website. You will see that if you get some good result, basically you will be awarded for this kind of the scholarship from time to time. And that award from the university one is for the 4 years. Okay, so that means that as long as you keep on with your good academic performance, the entrance one, you meet this criteria, you will have $60,000 per year out of the 4 years. Okay, that is something that we help you. If you go for the Dean Scholarship, which is also the same, the maximum duration is for the 4 years. Okay, so for the Tier 1, Tier 2, you can go to the website and then you will see that this is what we put in here. If your total DSE unweighted score is about 30, 27, you'll be eligible for this kind of this scholarship from time to time as well. Okay. And something special that I want to share with you right now is that for the 2 flagship program I mentioned to you, Global Business, the CFFT, Computational Finance, and the FinTech, we also want to provide a little bit more motivations for all of you. If you come over here, say for example, this is the OR, okay? If you got a DSE Math, or DSE ICT, or DSE Economics, or the English language, with any one of them, more than 5 star or equal to 5 star, and your unweighted score is basically 30 or above, you get a one-off scholarship 40,000. If your unweighted score is about 28, the one-off scholarship is 20,000. Okay, so this is the scholarship one-off on top of the previous Dean Scholarship, University Scholarship. But you can see that you can observe that if you got some kind of the scholarship in the last page, definitely this is something bonus on top only. Same for the Global Business, but then the length, the star, 5-star requirement, one of the 5-star requirement that we put it in here is different, okay? Because these 2 programs, they're highly different subject, okay? So this is something that probably I want to share with you, okay? And some additional benefits, not on the monetary side, it's basically on the choice, okay? So if you come over here, but then on the other hand, I think that, suddenly I think that I don't really think that this program is good for me, or I want to try some other program. If you got this kind of the 28 or above, you get a free choice of the first major, okay? That means that you can choose of any BBA program, okay? GSS 101 to 1007 is basically something that excluding the computational finance. They are all the BBA because computational finance is in the BSc, Bachelor of Science. Okay, so you got a free choice of the first major for this one if you got the high marks. If you got an even higher 30 marks, then you can the free choice of the second major. So what do you mean by the second major in here is that we got the double major in CityU. So double major in the College of Business of CityU means that you can, for example, you come here for the Bachelor of the Business Economics, and then the business of Bachelor of Business in the Finance. But on the other hand, I want to be specialized in the information management as well. You can definitely get some choice to do some free electives, to take some course in that department. You can also try to have the minor in that department as well. But that is nothing better than you have the major in that department as well, isn't it, right? If you have the second major come with the first major, we call them double major in the College of Business. And what is the feature in this double major is that you can, based on our mechanism of the double major, you can get 2 majors, but graduate still within 4 years, okay? So the thing in here is that you are graduating in 4 years, and your other peers, they also graduate in 4 years, but they only got 1 major. You got 2 major. Then I think that the result is clearly seen to others, isn't it, right? So I think that this is what we call the CB double major, the CB second major. So in that case, if you are high enough in the score, you can also get a free choice of the second major without any restriction as well, okay? So that is what we committed, okay? So for the following, just some things that I show you about to stop in here, because this is about some score for you to make some reference about some score that we got in the past in here, okay? Now, I hope that I could give you some of the overviews about what can we do in here, okay? So just in case, I think that because I'm running out of time already, because we specialize these sections from 10 to 11, okay? So I really appreciate for your questions from time to time. And also, I understand that some of you also probably thinking about to go through some other sections. Now, once again, you know, this section is basically from the College of Business point of view. So just want to give you some overview of some program. But for those programs that you mentioned by your questions, I try my best to answer you. But then if you're really interested in those other programs as well, I strongly encourage you to go for this kind of the information section in here as well, okay? So just show you once again in here about this kind of the information sections in here. So I hope that you can just make use of this time over this week, because I think that, you know, this week, I suppose that a lot of you will have already finished your exam already. So just try to mark down those time and use the leisure time to join those, okay? So I hope that you enjoy the sections, and don't forget that, you know, from the College of Business, we got one very special program for you, an event not to be missed. It's from Benzer. Okay, so those are the time that on this Thursday 2 to 3, okay, you can do the registration in our admission office website. That means the consultation week website on that, okay? So probably I think that that is the end of what I'm going to share with you. And I think that for the other end, I think that this is something that I show you about our students' exposure from time to time only, okay? So that's all for what I'm going to tell you right about in here. Sorry, that I think that the last one I want to show you is about this one, okay? So this is my colleague's Carmen's contact in here. I guess I also showed you earlier in that kind of the format. So just in case you've got any questions, you can just ask me here. I will stay here for about 5 more minutes, okay? But then on the other hand, I guess you can also anytime send us the WhatsApp, send us the email, go to our website to explore more on that, okay? All right, so I hope that you all enjoy the sections, and if you got any questions, as I just told you that you can feel free to ask right now. I think that, you know, you can just unmute your mic. You can also type in the message as well, okay? So I will stay here for another 5 minutes, but then if not, then you can feel free to offline, and also you can feel free to look into our website first to get more information. And just in case if you want to come back with any questions, then feel free to do so as well, okay? So I would say that thank you all of you, and then I look forward to seeing you all on CityU campus sooner or later, okay? So hope you have a good day. Although I think that the outside, the weather is not that good, but I'm sure that just stay care and also stay safe, and make sure that you take good care of yourself, okay? Once again, I look forward to seeing you all on campus soon, okay? So have a good day too.